Well, shit. Apparently, the Screenwriters Guild strike is over. News came in last night. There was a report on a live stream on Midnight's Edge that somebody had snuck into the live chat, and it apparently spread around. I heard this morning from a friend of mine who is a union steward with the Writers Guild, who basically told me that they haven't signed anything yet, but they have come to a verbal agreement. As far as the signing for that can happen sometime in the next 5 to 7 days, probably, more than likely. So we'll see what happens from that. Kind of took me by surprise. There have been rumors that they've been in the process of doing it, and talks were going well. I mean, where it's going to lead, who the hell knows? I mean, truly. The studios and production companies still plan on using AI to help flesh out an outline, create a story, build stage direction, and adequate dialogue in order to tell that story. But they are still going to have to hire official writers to come in and flesh it out and give it that human touch to make it work. I don't know. We'll see where this all goes. I mean, trying to get rid of the middleman, so to speak, in motion picture production is kind of a half-assed idea that's not going to lead anywhere. As I've said in prior videos in the past, I don't think AI is anything to really be worried about. I mean, it's nothing to fear, let's put it that way. It is as good and or as bad as its base programmer when things come down to it. So we'll see where this all lands after they've signed their contracts officially. This happens every 3 years anyway. The Writers Guild, the Actors Guild, all the other unions, they all have contracts that get re-signed or they get renegotiated every 3 years, and when things don't flesh out, all of a sudden a strike will pop up, and it's only natural. And I think the unions have caused more damage here in the last decade than they've done any good, actually. In the past, they might have done a little bit of good for various other companies as well. I've worked as a union employee before in the past as well, and it seemed to have worked. You never really got everything that you wanted, but it looked good on paper and it sounded good coming out of somebody's mouth. But ultimately, you just get a little smidgen of actually what is being said and what has actually been printed on that paper. So we'll see where this all goes. The actors' strike has still to negotiate and figure something out here for the future. That basically still means that productions are halted and that Hollywood is basically still shut down. So we'll see what happens with that as well. Who knows how long that's going to get dragged out. All in all, Hollywood is still going to be coming to a screeching halt for many more months, and the film industry is basically going to be shy of product here for at least a year. I mean, the only thing that they have in the can, anything that's already finished that they might have ready to go out that's in post-production and needs any other work on it, like some post sound editing, special effects, things like that, can be done technically down the road a piece, and they're just going to have to reschedule these TV shows and programs and streaming service programming, content, whatever you want to call it, for a later date. But it's still going to hold things up, and it's still going to hold the investors up as far as receiving a return on their investment in said products. All of these projects, as we all basically know, and if you haven't already learned here on YouTube or elsewhere, if you're not familiar, is that when you put a budget into a film, a studio essentially goes to their investors and gets a loan of, say, the film's going to cost $200 million, okay, so to speak. And that loan for that $200 million comes with an interest rate of probably somewhere about 29.9% interest. Now, that acquires over a period of 2 years during the course of the film's production until it comes out to the theaters. Now, a film has to gross 3 times its initial production budget in order to break even. We're not even talking about advertising campaign cash. So you have your initial monies plus the interest on top of it that has to be paid back to the investors. Okay. Now, the theaters and the production company get a 50-50 split. Now, the theaters, and we're talking worldwide, they get half of that money because they have to keep the lights on, pay their employees, and so on, like everybody else does. And then the remainder goes to the production studio. Whether or not they get any profit back from it or not, maybe just a little bit if they're lucky, anywhere between $50 to $100 million at that point. Oh, depending on, most of the films needing to break $1 billion in order to be somewhat successful nowadays. It's ridiculous. But we will see how things go here in the future. Like it or not, they are going to have to go back to the old school ways of making films. AI or not, they're going to have to knock the budgets down considerably in order to produce a film on a much smaller budget, somewhere around $100 million or below it, in order to make it profitable. Because when you add in an ad campaign, which can sometimes be equal to the amount of the film production itself, because you're talking basically about ad campaigns worldwide. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about film prints that have to be either dubbed in a particular language where that film's going to be going to be seen, either dubbed or subtitled in that particular language. All of the ad campaign material, either the physical or the digital, has to be done in that language as well. So you're talking about a worldwide spread here. And that comes to hundreds of millions of dollars in order to do that, to promote it. Plus, films also have to shoot specific scenes for different regions around the world, such as China, India, and so on, because they have particular issues with certain folks of different races that they have to kind of skirt around if they can in order to make that film successful. So they have to edit that film accordingly to those particular regions. I mean, it all depends on the variety of individuals in the film, the diversity, so to speak, of the individuals in the film, and the pigmentation of their skin as well. Some countries are fairly racist when it comes to particular races. Some countries are racist against their own types. So that's another one here that's going to be kind of hard to fight and get around. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see what happens. It's still a shit show regardless. Companies are still going to be going into debt. I don't see any end to this stuff here for years to come. It's going to take a good 10 to 20 years for them all to get out of the hole. Now, Disney is starting to drop the social justice warrior crap and all the woke nonsense that's come up in the last decade, because they're finding out that it's not profitable and they're getting pressured by their investors. The investors are in this to make money. All businesses are designed to make money, to make things profitable. All businesses are designed to have employees. All businesses are designed to make sure that the individual, the employee, the owner, the investor profiteer from these things so they can live a much better life, at least have some fraction of a better life. And that's the way the old school business structure has been designed since basically the beginning of time. So I think they're starting to learn their lessons now, slowly but surely. It's still going to take time because a lot of them are still going backwards. Instead of moving forward, we end up taking 10 steps back constantly. Like I've always said, human beings are the dumbest creatures that God ever put on the face of the planet, and there's no proving any of that wrong. You have to say that, period, straight up. All you have to do is look at history right off the bat, and you will see, because history keeps on repeating itself, and it doesn't get any better as it goes. So we'll see what happens. For those of you that actually care and are interested in this type of stuff, keep an eye on it. Pay attention to what's going on out there and see how things roll. Also, remember the fact, if you're not into any of the new stuff that's being distributed out, any of the new movies or the TV shows, specifically the stuff that has the woke messaging in it and all this other nonsense, there is this incredible wealth of older films from here in the U.S., from around the world, that date back 100 years that you can dig into. Specifically film school students that are out there that may be watching this video right now. I highly suggest that you look toward older films. Don't look at films that are out of the 2000s or starting at the year 2000. I mean, go way back. Go back to the Stone Ages, the 1970s, whatever, the 1960s, even the 1930s. Check out some of the older films, even some of the silent films. Experience this stuff. The TV shows that came out decades ago. Check all of that out. They're all available on streaming services. You can find them on DVD or Blu-ray. Check it all out. Learn this stuff. That is where you learn the art of filmmaking, the art of writing. These are old school people that basically wrung themselves out in order to get into the industry. They fought hard. They learned the proper way how to make a film, write a film, produce a film, put everything together technically. It's standard in film school today. Everything that started 100 years ago is still standard in film school right now. So go back, check out this old material. All this wealth of movies and TV shows and cartoons and shorts and serials, books, comic books, magazines, everything that's out there. They are all available for you to see. I'm going to call it a day. That's a wrap. This is James Nalepka, your Wicked Fanboy, signing out for the day. And I will see you all in the next video soon. I have a couple of videos that will be popping up here fairly soon in the next 3-4 days or so. Since my work schedule is kind of odd and I have to attend to other business, I have to kind of balance and throw things in and out. So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, y'all take care and have a good day. Don't forget, buy physical media. Go to the old movies, go to the old TV shows. Check out that wealth of history and film art that is out there. We'll catch you later. Peace out.